Hi, everyone. I'm Doug Black, and today, on behalf of Inside Big Data, we're speaking with Ashwin Rajeeva. He is co-founder and CTO of enterprise data observability company Acceldata. So, Ashwin, welcome.
Hey Doug, thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here to talk about Accelerator.
Okay, it's a pleasure. So, before we dive into what data observability is all about, describe for us the data management challenges that so many organizations face these days. As they struggle to manage their legacy data along with new and growing data sets.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we gotta start a little bit somewhere around 10 years back, right? And data management kind of came out of the shackles of a lot of proprietary tools, by enterprise vendors, and a lot of open source tooling, came around in the form of Hadoop and related components. And there was really an explosion in how companies use transform data. And jobs like data engineers and data scientists, they kind of really became popular in the last decade or so. And along with this, I think what's happened in the modern environment is there is a lot more complexity in the data environment. There are a lot more players. Enterprises have to deal with data which has been sitting around in their legacy environments, and many of these enterprises are also in the process of cloud migration, right? So now you can imagine that businesses and data pipelines and data delivery has to still maintain the same amount of quality, the service level agreements, and also things like cost to performance ratio as you move from a legacy environment into the cloud. So for us, I think what we have seen with our customers, the biggest challenges come in managing the scale and the complexity of the modern data environment, right? And that is kind of, and the problem kind of gets more and more complex because of the lack of talent around the data frameworks in the industry. So, in the last few years, you would have seen a lot of companies quickly migrating to the cloud. Along with the cloud comes the problem of heavy cost and also the continuing explosion in the amount of data that needs to be processed. And Acceldata as a company exists to make sure that you know companies have a way, customers have a way to manage the scale and complexity of their data ecosystem.
Okay, so tell us how does Excel data enable customers to take on these problems more effectively and efficiently?
Yeah, so Acceldata is a data observability company, and data observability, as a term, is fairly new in the industry. So, it's been around for about 3 years or so. We are one of the first companies which came up with this term, and I think it's being slowly, widely adopted in data teams and between data engineers. And what data observability means, right? And our view on it is fairly simple. We say that the modern data environment for any enterprises is composed of four key entities, right? One is your compute and data infrastructure. The second one is your data pipeline. The third is your data environment. And the fourth are the data users, right? And data observability essentially brings the concepts or the principles of observability, which has been around for, now close to 15 years or so, and is the de facto way of doing application development in production, bring some of those concepts in to aspects of data engineering which are key to the success of any data initiative, right? So Accelerator builds a data observability platform which integrates with data pipelines, compute and data infrastructure, the data flowing through any data pipeline or data ecosystem, and also observes the users of that platform. And what this allows you to do is that imagine enterprise data pipeline. And all the way from data production through the data transformation lifecycle into the consumption layer, Acceldata provides connections, connectors, and SDKs practices where you can actually probe into any of these aspects and get a complete view of what's really going on. And what that allows you to do is to essentially manage this complexity over a period of time, right? So whether you have cost overruns in your data platform, if you have data issues, data reliability issues, or data validation issues, or you might even have rogue users or issues around how users are using your data platform. Accelerator provides kind of a 360-degree view around all of these, and that helps our customers to manage, the scale at which data is being processed. Some of our customers, we were talking about it yesterday. One of our customers has a total data footprint of close to 65 petabytes, right? And that's a lot to manage. So for us, I think with our background, most of our founding team, initial team comes from a data background. Most of the founders are from the Hortonworks Hadoop in legacy, and we continue to build on that expertise where we work with these big enterprises with really complex data systems, make sure that they run their data processes very smoothly.
Okay, so it's been widely noted that one way to scale data reliability efforts is to add more data engineers and data scientists. But of course, um, people with those skills are hard to find and very, very expensive. So the next approach is to automate more of the process. What parts of that process does Acceldata automate that would otherwise be done by a data scientist?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I think we need to expand the definition of the automation which you're talking about, and it's not just for data scientists, right? The data scientists, as you rightly said, do a lot of repetitive work, which might be a candidate for automation at a large scale. But I think for us, for our platform, we cater to the entire data engineering life cycle. So whether it's the data owner, the executive sponsor, all the way till data engineering and data scientist workflows, there is a lot of I think what I could describe as grunt work, which goes into kind of delivering data at scale, right? And these have to do with, is your data, is your data correct, right? Is it valid? Is it consumable? Is it reliable? Did it actually come on time? Did it meet its SLAs? And all the way to concerns such as for platform owners or executives, um, especially in the cloud, am I meeting my cost performance goals or not? And so a lot of these processes can be automated in the Accelerator platform, and they have to do with making sure that the data is delivered on time, has the right quality, can be relied upon, and also making sure that the end-to-end SLAs for your data pipeline are being met. So automation is the key for a lot of our customers, but they do it across the platform, right? So across the data, I would call it supply chain, that there are many points at which you can actually apply very smart automation. And our job as the platform vendor is to make sure that we provide these capabilities to our customers.
Okay. Now, Ashwin, tell us about some of Acceldata's integrations, both in on-premises and public cloud platform environments.
Right. At this point, the Accelerator platform has about 25 integrations overall, and these include all the common, most popular cloud data warehouses. So, think of Snowflake, think of Databricks, think of BigQuery, think of, Presto, Athena, you name it. I think one of the unique aspects of our platform is that we really do not differentiate between where your data is at this point and where it might be in the future. So in the same on the same platform where you integrate with your cloud data warehouses, you can also integrate with file systems. You can integrate with on-prem RDBMS systems, Postgres, Oracle, where you might be doing data migration from. We have integration with streaming systems such as Kafka, Kinesis, etc. We have integrations, and we have excellent and very strong integrations for hybrid environments where we can connect into a Hadoop environment which probably is running it in somebody's data center. So these integrations span all the way from what you would consider primarily an on-prem deployment from a Hadoop stack, all the way into through streaming systems and into the cloud data warehouses as
Okay, pretty comprehensive. Now, what are some of the latest features you've added to the Acceldata platform, and what might we look for from the company over the next 12 to 24 months?
well. Yeah, great question. So our philosophy always has been, because we're enterprise focused, and we want to make sure that whatever we build is actually useful for customers. So a lot of our roadmap is driven through our customers, and our customers are some of the biggest names in the industry. So we have two of the largest telecoms in the US, big banks, ad companies such as Pubmatic. We have banks on our platform, and so a lot of these features which we are developing now has to do with the scale of data operations, right? So it's fairly cute to integrate maybe one or two data sources and provide metrics around freshness and volume, because these are, I think of them as table stakes. But what we have been doing is to make sure that our system works at scale. So a lot of our work most recently has to do with scale of data operations. So let me give you an example. One of our customers is one of the largest data providers of commercial data in the world. This is a company which has been around for more than 100 years, right? And at their scale of data operations, they would like to process close to 800 billion rows through a data reliability check with about 600 odd rules. They already have a platform, and this data processing takes anywhere between in the best case 7 days, and in the worst case I've heard them talking about close to 21 days. And 21 days for a data reliability check, for an enterprise data reliability check, is absolutely unacceptable. So with the Accelerator platform, with all the recent changes we have made, some of this processing with 800 billion rows, we are able to achieve it in 6 hours, right? And that's because of the scale of the underlying platform, which works with your compute environment and can actually spin up to any scale of data that you have. So we call it our exabytes, a petabyte scale data reliability platform. And a lot of the features which drive that are the fact that if you want to write or if you want to author data reliability policies on the Accelerator platform, you have a very low code, no code way of doing so. But if you are a big enterprise and you have complex data rules, so some of the stuff which we have added recently, that you can actually, your data engineers can write custom rules in multiple programming languages, check them into your repositories, and the Accelerator platform will make sure that we execute it in your environment at scale, right? So a lot of the work which we have done in the last year has been around making sure that we can work at the hundreds of terabytes, petabyte scale. To your second question about what we can expect in the future, you know, there is a lot of interest in data observability, both from customers, enterprises, analysts, and also investors. And I think the space allows us to experiment a lot because it's a fairly new category, right? And what we have done, I think, comprehensively is to kind of now map these four aspects which I talked about: so compute infrastructure, pipelines, data reliability, and users. And I think in the future, a lot more aspects of what you would call, you know, data management will kind of be a part of data observability, because most of the practices around data, or how data pipelines are authored, or how data is delivered and consumed, is actually, you know, 10 years old or 15 years old. A lot of ways of doing things is fairly old. And in in this environment where a lot of customers and a lot of companies are trying to modernize, right? They're using a modern data stack, they're using data platforms on the cloud. I think the old ways of building data platforms is going to see a shift in the next 5 years. And I think data observability is a key practice in that shift, right? So today, if you are a company who's thinking of building, you know, some sort of a data delivery or data pipeline, I think it's useful to build in data observability from the beginning. And we as a company will continue to invest in, number one, education, and number two, building platforms which work for large data environments at scale.
Okay, really interesting. You're taking on some critically important issues. So we'll look forward to seeing those developments. We've been with Ashwin Rajeeva of Acceldata. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Doug. It was a pleasure.